Puri as a member of the college's Board of Trustees. He has served on our board since 2005. However, Sunil has always been a loyal advocate and supporter of his alma mater, staying involved in college activities and stewardship since he crossed the stage as a graduate and stepped off as a proud alumnus. I've spoken before about Sunil and the remarkable courage he displayed as a young man of just 18, coming to America from India with little more than ambition, fortitude, and a suitcase. His courage has never waned and is fed by a passion and a strong desire to do good. Sunil is an invaluable asset, both to me and to our community. Since earning his degree in economics and business, Sunil has never stopped moving forward, taking the opportunity to lift all others, allowing us all to benefit from his leadership. There is no stronger proponent of Rockford and Rockford College than Mr. Puri. He never stops giving credit to Rockford College for the life he has built for himself and for his family. Sunil plays so many vital roles: founder and CEO of First Rockford Group, trustee of Rockford College, community leader and benefactor, mentor to many, and a proud and devoted father. I'm honored that he accepted my call and invitation to deliver today's keynote address, and that he is here today with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Sunil Puri.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's just wonderful to come home. I've got a prepared speech, but I've got so many thoughts going through my mind, so I'm going to excuse me for getting in and out of those. But for those of you sitting way back there, I can assure you I've sat there. I have heard experts and all kinds of content who want to expand my mind. And if this is part of the forum series, you'll be out in 20 minutes. Not have to wait because it will be very long. I think some of those things have changed, but before my time, during Dr. Howard's time, after forum, we had to actually meet and discuss what the speaker said, which was another 1 hour. So we don't have to at least deal with that. 165 years ago, it was not uncommon for a person to grow up, work, and live all in the same house where they were born. For many, their world was only as big as they could see from their front door. What a change our way of life has come. It is now not uncommon for an 18-year-old boy like me to come from Bombay, India, 8,000 miles away to seek a liberal arts education. Coming here in 1979, I dreamt of making it on my own, a vision that was only made possible, as I have come to find out much, much later, by the unselfish commitment and passion of 14 men and women who took personal risk to secure a charter to found an institution of higher learning in the state of Illinois. It was 165 years ago, on February 24, 1847, that the state of Illinois granted permission to the idea of a school in Rockford, beating up requests from Mactown, which is current-day Rockton, Elgin, and Belvedere. These founders pledged $14,000, which is a lot of money, of their own to form Rockford Female Seminary. A current trustee who's not with us today, Jonathan Whitlock, my friend and fellow trustee, continues to serve us with dedication and passion in the rich tradition of his great-granduncle, Mr. Charles Spafford, who was one of those original founders who mortgaged his home to help provide this opportunity, not just to start a school, but also to help prosper this young community called Rockford. It is also important for me today to recognize many of my fellow board members who are sitting up in the front over here, and the Rockford College staff and faculty. we've gone through some really trying times, and if it wasn't for their unselfish and ceaseless dedication and commitment over many, many years, having sat on that board for the last 7, none of us would be here today. I'm pleased to say the state of this college, as the president has said, is strong, and we have many more milestones to go. I did manage to ride through with all my hubcaps today, so I know that most are things fixed. It's parking available, and the buildings are fixed. The roof at Clarkart is redone. We have a lighting system, which is why I'm not wearing my suit inside. I'm told it's working very well, and it's going to keep me warm. I'm so glad to see many of my professors here, Mr. Evans, Dr. Gleicher, for Dr. Rao, and either Bozo or Dumbo, I don't know which one I've graduated, but he called us the same, and I'm sure he hasn't changed any till now. I hope you can understand me clearly. If not, I can always speak in Hindi. It's not a foreign subject. Very soon, a college like ours is going to prepare us for this world of teaching Hindi and Mandarin. This is a college that has evolved over all these years from a place where I was the first graduating class with accounting as a degree, because we were a true liberal arts college. We barely, the year before, had business administration. We just had a degree in the business area of economics, but we have come a long ways. This is a college that constantly evolves, has tried many different things, and has always come up on top to be able to provide what its students always need. I came to Rockford College as the youngest of 6 boys. In a traditional Hindu business family in Bombay, the youngest of 6 boys' chance to make a decision never arrives. So you don't want to wish any ill to your siblings. So I was the youngest. I came to Rockford College. Back then, it was almost impossible to get even a student visa. So I came here really to look around and see what the opportunities possibly were. I had a lot of expectations, a lot of interest to learn, and I really wanted to pursue a liberal arts education. However, I came without any proper transcripts, credentials, ACT or SAT scores, and Rockford College was very hesitant to give me admission just like everybody else was. I'll never forget in a building right next door where we used to have the president's office at Star Science, sitting outside President Dr. Stewart's office, our president then, after having read my catalog, having never thoroughly studied anything more than sitting outside for a week, waiting for an appointment with him after our registrar, Mr. Fisher, had told me there was no way they could accept me. I sat outside patiently hoping that someday somebody would talk to me about an education. I arrived with not much money, but a lot of hope. Dr. Stewart had been a student of archaeology and had traveled overseas for many years, had a soft corner for foreign students, and one day, against the advice of his assistant, allowed me to come in and talk to him. I'll never forget him just staring me straight out, saying, "You've sat here for a week. What is it that you want?" I said, "Admission to Rockford College. What was the problem?" I explained. He said, why would I give you this chance? And I'll never forget a very basic principle. I had walked around the campus when the president wasn't there, and I remember going to all the classes. The smallest class that I was able to go to had 30 chairs in it. Yet the catalog boasted of a 10-to-1 student-faculty ratio. I simply told him, "You already have 30 chairs in every classroom and you have a 10-to-1 student-faculty ratio. How can I bother about anybody?" Remember, he had a degree in archaeology and not business. He did call Lady Marinelli, our vice president of finance, and asked me, "This kid has some ideas here. You need more students." That is how I was given conditional admission on an audit basis only. If I managed to get a 3.5 on a 4 GPA, or those classes qualified. They gave me a presidential scholarship, then called Senator Percy and got me my student visa, which was also quite a feat. However, I was thrilled on my new life at Rockford College, just loving this soaking up and living on this campus. I still walk by Berkeley Center, by the mailboxes, still a little concerned about something jumping at me. see what had happened 6 weeks after I'd been on campus and all kinds of wonderful notes that were sent to me from the business office, which I'd ignored, was for my room and board. I didn't have any money. One day I'll never forget, box number 310, and I remember opening the box and I'd gotten many love notes from the business office. And this one time, Virginia, the mail lady, was told to reach out, and I saw this hand come out from the box, and I still walked by there waiting for some hand to grab me. Her job was to call the business office as soon as she found me, which is when they figured out that I didn't have enough money to pay my room and board. They never gave up on me. That is when I succeeded to get every possible job on campus, because as a foreign student, there was no way I could get any kind of loans. I worked for Ralph Cohn back there in the lighting room. Very briefly washed dishes. Worked every security job. When we used to have treasures in this building, we had a security guard at the back door who sat every night. There was lots of art and treasures in this building back then. I worked driving the van to Cherryville and Colonial Village. I remember working at the reception desk that Berkeley used to have up front, and I took possibly every job at night where the dorms used to have a security guard. I was the one who was always available on call because I had to pay my way through college. That got me through the semester, and I got a job subsequently at P.A. Peterson Home, a nursing home here in town, where I did everything from washing bedpans to sitting at the front desk. Never did I give up my hope, and never did this college let me down. Went through 5 straight semesters and 2 summers, and there was just nothing like soaking up the learning. The reason I could get through in 5 semesters and 2 summers is interesting, because I sat in so many security jobs that was a great place for forced learning every night. But this is not a place where I had ever had to worry about not being taught by the best. My fondest memories of learning were from Mary Ann Wong, who's still in town and still sees me as her student and me as look up to her as my favorite teacher. She was the Learning Resource Center coordinator who also taught me speed reading, comprehension. I was a little slow, but somehow I never had the privilege of teaching assistants, because we never had any at Rockford College, because we had the best and the finest, and never a teaching assistant. I'll never forget, while I was still learning comprehension and speed reading, I got signed up for Dante's Inferno for a January intensive term. Boy, talk about being in purgatory. Dr. Dave Crafton rescued me. He was the head of our English department, who took me home twice a week for 3 weeks for supper and 3 hours of somehow managing to get me through purgatory. This is a college that never ever gave up on me. Mr. Evans and Dr. Gleischer were there to nurture me all the way through. What more can I say about our faculty? But this wasn't just about learning. This college has just so many wonderful, wonderful memories that a student could ever have. We had a lot of foreign students back then. Our soccer team, believe it or not, but 80 pounds ago I did play soccer before the college. Our soccer team had Iraqis, Iranians, Icelandic players, Jamaicans. We had them all. We had more then than we have now, and we really should be getting more students from foreign countries. But it was a wonderful United Nations. But we all got along. I was in the first batch that was allowed to live in what was called the Virgin Ward, which was McGaw Hall. The women had stayed there for 30 years. No men were ever allowed to lock the building up. That was an experiment in 1980 to allow us to. Well, I had come from a reasonably well-off family in India, and I had enough clothes washed to be able to last me 2-3 weeks. Trust me, I had worn them all twice or 3 times, and now it was time finally to the day of reckoning to meet the washing machine. Oh boy, I had dreaded this day. We didn't have any Google or Wikipedia to be able to check out what the machine was like, but I knew I had to go buy detergent, so I took the van to Trangy Way at Cherryville Mall. Used to be a store called Trangy Way. bought a box of soap. I was so diligent, I even bought a measuring cup. I got my measuring cup, I came back, I talked to my neighbor Mitch, who was just a wonderful, wonderful African-American young man. Actually, he was a very big young man. He was 6'7", who lived next door to me and was my protector. Mitch came up and said, I said, Mitch, I'm too embarrassed, I can't really ask anybody else, could he help me with my clothes? And he said, of course. Have you separated the colors and whites? And I said, yes. I've got 3/4 of a cup already, of powder already measured out. Got my quarter. He said, what are you waiting for? Go on down there. Give it a try. I'll never forget going out there. He said, wait 45 minutes and you can then try it. And I'm like, okay. So I went down, and there were these two machines, and I put my clothes, and I put the 3/4 cup, and I put my quarter, and I pushed it back, and it started to rumble, and I came back. 15 minutes later, I was there. Something was wrong. I called Mitch. Mitch came out. Well, nobody told me which was the washer, which was the dryer. That was the end of the embarrassment. All the women who had just let these men into their dorm had the same pipe that went into the vacuums into their dryers, and I'd sent soap into all their clothes. And they had to all wash their clothes again. So this was the learning experiences I brought from college. Where else can you have an entire dorm raise you up? I had new friends. I had new young women who were happy to take me under their wing, and trust me, for the next 3 times I had supervisors helping me wash my clothes. Towards the end, at Rockford College, I had worked very hard. In bedpans in the summers, I would pour concrete in Wilton, Wisconsin, and it was time. I had no debt, obviously, I couldn't get any, but I was ready to graduate, and I had carefully marked up, I had transferred some credits, I had marked up. Back then, you could actually test out of classes, which was kind of a new concept. So I'm ready to graduate and go into the real world, little knowing that 1982 was the worst in the economy at least since this last depression. But I was ready to go on, and Mr. Wallen, remember this was the first year we were going to get an accounting degree, and there was a Mr. Wallen who Dr. Howard would have never accepted because he had long hair and he drove a Corvette, and that was not Rockford College in 1981. He had long flowing hair, but he was a CPA and he was a very good teacher and my advisor. I'll never forget going to him to sign up for my last year of all the accounting classes I could get because I had come halfway across the world to be a very good accountant. The amazement of him looking at me and saying, I could not sign up, I had taken enough accounting classes, I could not sign up for 2 more. And I said, I paid hard money for this, and why would I not sign up? And I'll never forget him telling me, which is really what I'm here to tell you today, my students from Rockford College, I'll never forget him telling me that I needed to sign up for Dr. Gleischer's American government for the first time. And believe it or not, I'm a presidential appointee now and learned something about American government. And Jane Poor's beginning dance, and Nina Tutu was not good. And this is somebody who's worked hard and is ready to graduate, and you will not allow me to sign up for more accounting classes, to which he said, no, you are at Rockford College. This is a liberal arts education. This is a liberal arts institution, and we educate you and prepare you to think, change, and evolve. And I was happy to change and evolve, but with accounting degrees. I'll never forget him saying, we want you to be able to have enough knowledge that you could sit next to anybody on an airplane and have something in common with them. I don't like middle seats, but I do have a lot of things in common with them. They can hardly shut me up now, but I can tell you, I'll never forget his last words to me after he signed me up for psychology, for American government, and for beginning dance. He said, at Rockford College, we want you to go out there and not be the accountant, not be the engineer. We want you to have the knowledge and the depth and the ability to be flexible for the rest of your career, to hire the accountant, and hired the engineer, because they're going to be obsolete in a few years anyway, but you will always be able to evolve, and how right he was. Because the class of 2012, 75% of the jobs that they will have in their working careers are still to be conceived. That's what Rockford College prepares you for. May not be for anything specific, but enough so you could evolve and be able to change with times. And that was probably the best advice that I could have ever had. I'm completely off this thing, so. Which is just fine, because I'd much rather speak from my heart than tell you all kinds of wonderful tidbits about life. This is all about Rockford College, and let me just bring us to today. You know, what do I see in this college? I get goosebumps when I drive in, because I have many, many fond memories. Unfortunately, the college is smaller than it was. It was 405. I'll never forget, we had less students on campus than we had acres, the ones who lived on the campus. But we have a beautiful campus in the middle of a city which has changed so dramatically. I remember opening up my bank account first at Guarantee National Bank, which is now the big Chase Bank building. They came out here with tape recorders, not toasters, to sign the students up. They were opening up. And Dean Tibbetts, who was a dean at that time, telling me, why would you, that's the bank at the corner of Mulford and State. And there was really nothing beyond here, just a few, the Kmart, the Montgomery wards, and a couple of car dealerships. And him telling me that bank was out in the boonies. And look at where we are today. So the college has come a long ways. The obligation this college has always had, at least me as someone who lives in town, has had this kind of mixed relationship with its community. The challenges that I see are we have a substantially lower percentage of a population with a college degree. This college can provide such a valuable service to this community, which it already has continued to do with the BSMS. I see someday all the buildings up in the front being part of the college, not just the 5100 building. I see a continuing education program in many, many different areas. I see us lifting ourselves hopefully in the next 10 years as a challenge that we can meet the national average for people in our community with a college degree. I see ourselves making college so affordable as we have kept as a board, thanks to my colleagues here, our percentage of increase to the very minimal, where very soon our public universities are going to have a higher tuition than the private college that we enjoy. This is a place where you get that one-on-one education. This is a place that is there to serve its students as individuals and not just classes. This is the place where I see very clearly where you could go to school, you could finish your education, you could go part-time at night, you could still keep your job, save the room and board, and still be able to expand your mind. And what is rarely known is Winnebago County is the second largest exporting county in the state of Illinois. We are ready for the world, and we need to prepare our young people for the world. Very often I'm challenged, and very often there are things that come upon me. I'm going to close with something for our students that really is something that has been very important in my life. It's a poem by Mother Teresa. Goes, people are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you're successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you're honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. What you spend years building, someone can destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the world the best you have anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it is between you and your God. It was never between you and them anyway. I assure you, the challenges and the diversity as well as the optimism and enthusiasm that you feel and experience today at Rockford College, will make you stronger as a person for the future. This college trusted me, an unknown commodity from a faraway land, who came over here with lots of expectations, and this college gave me with no expectations in return. I, in turn, and we, all of us in turn, are obligated and privileged to nurture this institution so it may continue to serve those who come after us that wish to learn, grow, lead, change this world that we live in. Together we must preserve this wonderful living place for future generations so many that come beyond us will get what we personally enjoy. Thank you very much.